Coming up, new information on a Minnesota officer killed in the line of duty.
Is the city of Fargo ready to step up its enforcement of troubled liquor establishments?
Plus, an emotional day of testimony from Capitol police officers. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin with breaking news into our newsroom right now. We are on the scene of a crash involving a car and a semi. This is on Highway 9 North near the intersection with 28th Avenue North in Clay County. That is north of Glendon. The car pinned by the semi truck that they collided together. Crews have been on the scene, we're told, for more than an hour. No word yet on how many people were in the car or the severity of injuries. We'll keep you posted on this developing story. A caravan of law enforcement vehicles tonight traveling along Highway 10 near Sauk Rapids.
They're escorting the body of a 37-year-old police officer to the medical examiner's office. The father of 4 was killed today in the line of duty. Officers
in Red Lake say that Officer Ryan Bielke died of gunshot wounds after responding to a call of a suicidal male with children possibly inside a home in Red Bee, Minnesota. Michael Burns, who's the director of public safety, says that the suspect opened fire on officers and Officer Bielke was shot and killed. The suspect ran into the woods, but police caught up with him. Federal charges are pending. Bielke later died at a nearby hospital. He was a 6-year veteran of the Red Lake Police Department. Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Fischbach issued a statement tonight saying, in part, "My heart is heavy over the murder of another law enforcement officer. I'm eternally grateful to the men and women of law enforcement who put their lives on the line every day." The bar scene in Fargo may be changing, not so much what you see as a customer, but how the city deals with the way establishments operate. Today, the spotlight was on the Africa Restaurant and Nightclub, already under suspension. City leaders and bar reps met to determine what happens next. As Valley News Team's Nashay Taylor learned, the city may be looking at other bars as soon as tomorrow.
Once a month, Fargo's Liquor Control Board meets, and on its upcoming agenda, Fargo Police will be sharing its latest findings about alleged bar violations. Several businesses are on this list, and many of which are known to police for frequent calls for service. The Liquor Board's responsibility includes implementing disciplinary action. The Africa Nightclub is again on this list and has taken its share of heat for incidents over time at the establishment. After hearing from law enforcement and the bar's new general manager, the City Commission decided to continue its license suspension until needed background checks and other paperwork are completed.
Do we have their background check? Do we require it? And that's all I care, is where we're consistent and everybody's treated equally.
Other commissioners agree this is the time to iron out wrinkles, assuring that all liquor establishments are treated fairly. The Old Broadway is one of the businesses to be discussed on Wednesday. Just a couple of weeks ago, a video surfaced on social media showing what is believed to be a bar employee assaulting a customer already being restrained by security.
Bottom line is, whatever action we take here today, it'll set the tone for what we do with the other establishments. So, and with the understanding that if we do something here, there will be more action, I'm fine with that. But if we take action here and nothing else happens with the other establishments, I agree with him that that's unjust.
And depending on what action is taken, it will be scrutinized by not only the city, but the liquor establishments as well. And reaching common ground may be a challenge for both sides. In Fargo, Nashay Taylor, Valley News Live.
And the Fargo Liquor Control Board will meet tomorrow at City Hall at 1 p.m. Frontier Airlines will soon bring another option to travelers at Hector International Airport. A route from Orlando to Fargo begins November 4th. That flight will run 2 times per week, Thursdays and Sundays, with flights costing $69. We have more information on our website, valleynewslive.com. Heat and drought have contributed to a lack of feed for ranchers. Many crops normally used to feed livestock have been stunted, prompting producers to request an early release of CRP hay. With some crops at only about 20% of growth, CRP hay was one of their few remaining options.
We had planned to try to make some CRP hay someplace if we could find it, but it's not getting released, and with it as dry as it is, the feed value just goes down every day. So not being able to cut it in a timely fashion just makes it worse.
The Biden administration denied the early CRP release, forcing ranchers to look for other ways of maintaining their herds. North Dakota's Industrial Commission has approved 2 Bank of North Dakota loan programs to help livestock producers cover their expenses during this drought. One is the Livestock Drought Loan Program, which is good for purchasing feed, transporting feed or livestock, obtaining water, and other costs. And the Livestock Rebuilder Loan Program is for post-drought relief and can help ranchers who have had to sell off cattle for lack of feed.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is working virtually this week after coming in close contact with a DHS employee who tested positive for COVID-19. Mayorkas isn't showing any symptoms. Officials have not said if the staffer who tested positive was vaccinated. The president appears poised to announce a COVID-19 vaccine requirement for federal employees. He said today such a policy was under consideration. A source says Biden will make the announcement Thursday. People who refuse vaccination will have to submit to regular testing and other mitigation efforts.
The CDC has issued new guidance for masking in schools. The agency now wants localities to encourage all teachers, staff, students, and visitors in K-12 schools to wear masks indoors. That is regardless of vaccination status. The new guidance comes nearly 2 months after health officials said masks were no longer needed inside for vaccinated people. Now, for students and staff in both Fargo and West Fargo school districts, masks will be optional. West Fargo says face coverings are no longer mandated for staff, students, and visitors. Fargo tells us that this is not a plan for a mask requirement for the 2021-22 school year, adding that if it would be another recommendation, administration would seek approval from the school board.
For North Dakota to accomplish Governor Doug Burgum's goal of being carbon neutral by 2030, many of the plans rely on investments in carbon capture technology. State leaders today signed to have testing done on possible storage sites. The state's industrial commission, made up of the governor and other executive branch members, approved more than $325,000 to conduct a seismic survey in the eastern part of the state. The entire project will cost almost $630,000. Many power plants, including the recently purchased Coal Creek Power Station, have committed to carbon capture projects.
To be able to store CO2 around Jamestown and the industrial plants there would be great for decarbonizing ethanol, decarbonizing coal, and could even be a benefit to the new ADM plant, which is going in on the soybean crush plant. So for us to do this study, I think is an important one.
The commission also approved another nearly $200,000 for a feasibility study on building a plant to make biodegradable plastics.
Police in North Las Vegas rescued a baby from inside a hot car earlier this month while the caretaker was allegedly gambling at a casino, and it was caught on body camera video. Now, it's not clear how long the child was left unattended. Police noticed the door to the vehicle was unlocked. In the video footage, a police sergeant is seen giving water to the screaming baby in an attempt to cool him off. The baby was later taken to a local hospital to get checked out. A 39-year-old man was arrested and faces charges of child abuse and leaving an unattended child in a vehicle. One person is dead, 16 injured in an explosion at a chemical plant in Leverkusen, Germany today. The explosion was followed by a fire. The reason for the incident is unknown so far. Residents have been urged to stay indoors.
Although the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is still about a week and a half away, you wouldn't know it from walking around town. Vendors are already setting up shop on the streets of Sturgis. In fact, on almost every corner, you can find a vendor set up or setting up, and they're getting ready for large crowds.
You kind of get those crowds of people who are wanting to beat the big crowd, and so we've done a lot of sales with that, a lot of people getting t-shirts and stuff like that. Definitely a lot busier than I expected.
For an event as large as the Sturgis Rally, there is a crowd of people who come early to try to beat the lines.
Still ahead tonight on Valley News Live at 10, hear it from the people who were there, what it was like to defend the Capitol on January 6th.
Plus, Hutch is in with the latest on more heat and how soon we may be looking at a cool down.